This time on ChinnyVision, 5 more computer conversions of old TV shows. Some time ago we looked at TV shows that had home computer conversions, and we found a myriad of titles, including Adrian Mole and The Wombles. And it's time to look at 5 more TV shows that had home computer conversions, starting off with Russ Abbot and the Adventures of Basildon Bond. Basildon Bond was one of Russ's myriad of characters. For those that don't remember, he was a comedian popular in the late 70s through to the 90s and is now a serious stage and TV actor. He always had an ensemble cast on his comedy shows, starting off with Russ Abbot's Madhouse on London Weekend, moving over to the BBC, and then back to ITV in the 90s. The only other actor I can think that have swapped side twice are Morecambe and Wise. But Russ was a huge deal. He had pop records, he had a top-rated TV show, and why wouldn't he have a computer game? And it was released on the Spectrum, Amstrad and Commodore, and we're looking at the Amstrad here. The game is set in a TV studio, and somebody has stolen all of the jokes for your show, so you have to go and find them and reassemble them all on this computer. And that's where you start the game in the computer room. You have to search all the rooms and use the clues, find the gags, take them back and reassemble them. But watch out, there's a joke thief about. The joke thief will steal the jokes back from you. And of course, some of the objects in the TV studio have come to life and are lethal to the touch. C64. And there's the joke thief. Look, he's coming to steal your jokes. It's it's a generic wander around, solve the puzzles and collect things game with not a huge amount of screens. When you die, you get transported back to the computer room and lose some time, and if you really need help and need to blast some things in the room, you can summon another Russ Abbot character, Cooper Man. And there he goes, and you steer him and he disables the baddies for you. It's not very good, the graphics are flickery, ugly, the puzzles are, well, yeah. You'd have thought it would have tried to capture some of the TV show, a little bit of the songs of joy and tears of laughter that Russ brought to millions during his incredibly long and successful career. Perhaps there may be Les Dennis, Dustin G and Bella Emberg in the game. But no. It's sadly just a piece of tat that is being sold off the good name of one of Britain's best-loved entertainers. Speaking of which, here's Mike and Bernie Winters. Sorry, no, it's Don Johnson and the other one, Doyle. It's Miami Vice. Miami Vice, a huge American TV show from the mid-80s, rolled up sleeves, creased suits, driving around to Phil Collins. You know the deal. And of course, later parodied in GTA Vice City quite superbly. But does this ocean conversion capture the spirit of the TV show? You have to drive around Miami solving the mystery. And by the way, you need to read the instructions because there's vital details contained within. And you'll notice I'm crashing a lot, and that's because the car is completely uncontrollable. It's some of the worst driving controls you've ever seen in a game. What's worse is that if anything else touches you, you die. And the computer cars don't even attempt to avoid you. They just crash into you. It's actually worse than the Dempsey and Makepeace game I reviewed. There is a superb Martin Galway theme on the C64 version, but that's about it. The computer magazines were not kind to this. Crash gave the game 27%, Zap 64 30%, Spectrum version. And the driving isn't much better. Well, it's exactly the same, really. When you pull up outside a building and you need the instructions to know where to go, you wander around inside in some kind of colour clash hell. You may have a shootout, and then you get to question the person you've just filled full of lead. You think that's over quickly. You think that you get some kind of control over what you do. No, you have to time what you do precisely, like some kind of select thing in a fruit machine game. Question, threaten, get the timing right. It's nuts. You should be able to choose. It's awful. American kids quiz show Double Dare ended up being imported into the UK and put on Going Live and hosted by Peter Simon, today of Shopping Channel fame. Alternative got the license. Apparently, I think it's a NES version as well. I'm not really sure about that. I'm not worrying about that today. Double Dare is essentially a kids quiz show pitting two teams of two against each other while the question master asks questions. At the end of the game, the winners get to take on the assault course. Here we are on the Amstrad with some nicely dressed kids who look like they're going to drink some Kool-Aid and go up in a spaceship. And you can play 1 or 2 player. You also get the option to load in different question packs. No extra ones available to buy, but there's a few on the cassette tape with the game. What characters does Marilyn Monroe play in the film Bus Stop? Well, I mean, that's not a answer kids will know at the time, let alone me today. I've got no idea. Again, which film does Jason Robards play Benjamin Bradley? My criticism of the game is that the questions are a little bit too hard. And the whole point of the dare thing is that if you can't answer, you can dare your opponents to answer and then they can double dare it back at you. But the problem is if you do dare it, the computer invariably gets it right. This is the Spectrum version. It's very much the same as the Amstrad version. There are some sub-games. You may be asked to rearrange a picture of a famous personality. For example, who can this be? Karen from Maywood? And there's also one of the other sub-games is a Simon type game where you have to copy the flashing lights. But of course, all you're interested in is the assault course, and the winners go on to play that. Curiously, on the Spectrum version, the keys change from Q, A, O and P to play the standard quiz section of the game to ZXPL to play the assault course. Why would you do this? It must have been 2 separate coders doing both separate parts of the game, and they didn't talk to each other, clearly. The assault course requires you to collect things. It's reasonable fun, but you have to win the game to begin with to get this far. Minder, the legendary series by Euston Films / Thames Television, they've ran for over 10 years, starring George Cole as Arthur Daly, Dennis, sing the theme tune, write the theme tune, Waterman as his Minder Terry. And lastly, Gary Webster, of whom we will not speak, let alone Shane Ritchie. Ugh. Arthur Daly is a businessman, in inverted commas, who buys and sells items which are definitely not stolen, and he hangs around the Winchester Club with his dodgy mate. Basically, you're going to have to make some money, and it's a Dom Priestley game, although it's not that kind of Dom Priestley game. And you can define where you want to go: home, lock up, Terry's flat, Winchester Club, or a dealer. And that's not a drug dealer, that's just a person who sells probably stolen goods. This is your lockup. We've got garden gnomes and cartons of cigarettes, which we can try and sell. We've also got £2,000 to buy things. And you can bet Chisholm's out to get you. He's the local police detective, and he wants nothing more than to arrest you. So we can say which of the dealers we want to go to, and we get in our Jaguar car, and we drive. And you just drive until you press space or fire. You can't control the car. Here's a dealer. Hi Arthur, what can I do for you? I want to buy some stolen goods. And you have to work out what to type in, which is harder than it sounds because the game doesn't really understand much. I want to buy some stolen goods. Not sure what you're driving at. I want to buy! Kill the humans? It's a computer, it's got to understand that. Yeah, right. And we're down at the Winchester Club on the Spectrum version. Someone's approached me. Arthur Daly, yes? I'm Rat, Mr. Daly. Call me Albert. Flypapers, cartons of flypapers. A nice little earner. Fantastic merchandise. Each will stick 50,000 flies in boxes of 2,000 made by Killer Glue. I like the sound of this. I want to ask him how much, if the game actually understands that. £33. I don't want to pay that. Oh, he's going to give me his pat. I want to pay £10. Yes, you do seem to be doing all the talking. I'm going to offer him £15. 20? 25? And I'll ask him again how much. Biggest frustration of the game is just trying to speak to people, basically. Offer 20. $21 solves. Yeah, that'd be fine. We'll take that. We're going to accept. Okay, 21 quid. How many we want to... Let's take out 100. Oh, hang on. No, that's bad. No. That's going to be £2,100. I don't have £2,100. Yeah. Right. Pay and collection. That's good. Pick them up within 4 days. That's good. I've got 4 days to earn some money to pay for these things. I sent Terry on to deliver some goods, and now we've got some money. Why does Terry look like a dog pig? He looks nothing like Dennis Waterman. On the CPC, just checking that it's not Gary Webster, because it don't look much like Dennis Waterman. Game only came out on the Amstrad and Spectrum. And published by DK Tronics, who are more usually associated with peripherals. The thing about the Minder game is if only the game was menu driven as opposed to typing in text the entire time, because you can't work out what commands work and it just slows things down. Real shame, because it's a game with such good potential that sadly isn't realised in this game. Run the Gauntlet was the show by Thames Television and Creative Action. Started in 1987 and ran through to 1991. Although they weren't kind of full series as such, it usually tended to be about 3 one-hour episodes per year or one-off specials. And what it was a gladiatorial type event where 4 teams competed against each other over different courses and with different machinery. So it could be speedboats, could be quad bike type things, and so on. And the TV production company decided it'd be a good idea to do things like let off explosions left, right and centre to make it all look really exciting. Although it was a high budget show with a lot of impact at the time, it's not that well remembered because there simply weren't that many episodes. As I say, it tended to be very short runs or one-off specials.
Hi, I'm Martin Shaw. This is Run the Gauntlet. If you want to see action sports, this is the place to be.
So you get a feel from this badly sampled theme tune on the Amiga version of the game, of the show. It's quite 80s. Over to the C64, no sample speech, just says, "Hi, I'm Martin Shaw. Welcome to Run the Gauntlet. I'm as red as Brian Clough." But a cracking tune here on the C64 version. So you select which nation you want, and there can be 2 players if you wish. And you start off on the first event, which is some kind of 6-wheeled truck. And yes, the explosions are set off and can knock you for 6. The thing is, in the TV show, the explosions were actually rigged so you'd gone past them or they were out of the way. It was designed to look good for the cameras, whereas in the game, they actually do affect you. They can go off in front of you or on you. Spectrum version doesn't scroll, it's flick screen. And here's one of the water-based events on the Amiga. Yes, there are Amiga and ST versions of this game. What you tend to find with the game is there's 3 events that will be very, very similar, set on a nearly identical course. Amstrad version on the speedboat events. One of my criticisms of the boat events is there should be big arrows on the course showing you where to go. Instead, you have to look away at the map and try and work out where you are on the map, and by the time you've done that, you've wandered off the course. It's really rather a large oversight. There's also events where you have to storm castles and also run along assault courses. Of all these versions, I'm afraid only the C64 version is worth visiting. C64 owners do rate this game highly. It does have a slightly frustrating multi-load, but it is very polished on the 64. So that's 5 more TV shows that found their way onto computer games. The Adventures of Bond, Basil and Bond, is a wasted opportunity. Could have had all the characters from the TV show. Doesn't even have Blunderwoman in it. And I believe it was released at the same time as the same publishing house as The Devil's Crown, which is a far superior game to this tat. I do quite like that CPC loading screen though. Miami Vice is another missed opportunity. It just plays so badly on all 3 versions. Who on earth came up with that driving system? It's no fun. And when you do capture someone, you don't go through any logical process with them. Instead, you have to watch the flashing lights on the screen and press the spacebar or fire at precisely the right moment to decide if you're going to question somebody or beat them up. That's just not the right way to do a computer game. It should be your decision, not having to use your skill and a little bit of luck to hit the button at the right time. Double Dare. Well, I have problems with the questions. Kids back in the day wouldn't have been able to answer some of those questions, and even I can't do it now. I mean, 1950s movies? Yeah, there's only one set of difficulty to play the computer, and the computer pretty much always gets the questions right, which defeats the point of the dare option in the game, because if you pass it over to the computer, they're just going to get it right. Overall, it's a little bit disappointing, but not as bad as it could have been. Minder. Well, it's not the Dom Priestley game you were perhaps expecting, where you're wandering around like other Dom Priestley games. No, it requires typing things in and working out which commands the computer will accept. I love the idea you are buying and selling just like Arthur Daly, finding out where people are, going to the right place at the right time, having deals, avoiding Inspector Chisholm and all the rest of it. The phaser is so limited, you mustn't even say things like TVs or television, you have to say televisions. For example, when buying and selling them, it's just too frustrating. Run the Gauntlet was always a TV show that was style over substance. It was designed to be a TV spectacle. The C64 version is actually a decent game in its own right. Sadly, the Amstrad and Spectrum versions are nowhere near as good, and the 16-bit versions, well, 15% from Amiga Power, which I think is just about fair. So today we've seen 5 games converted from the TV to computers, and just like last time, what we've seen is these games not reaching the potential they could have done. Software publishers paying a lot of money for licenses, or perhaps not so much money, but not actually managing to capture the spirit of the TV shows.